Ni hao. Greetings from Shanghai, China. My name is Justin Flemons. I'm a graduate of the 2008 class at Johnson & Wales Charlotte campus. I was a business management major, and about 4 years ago I sat in the exact class that you're in now. I was a student in Miss Jackson's leadership class my senior year, and through staying in contact with Miss Jackson, she has asked me to share my experiences of working abroad with you and how they relate to leading in a global and multicultural society. The authors open this chapter by talking about how business is becoming increasingly multicultural and global. I actually will just throw it out there and say that I disagree with that. Business is already multicultural and global. As Americans, we come from a highly diversified country, and I did not quite understand or become aware of that until I started traveling in foreign countries. I've been to Europe and around Asia, and when you think of China, you think of the Chinese living here. They're very homogenous. Same thing in Europe. In Germany, they're all Germans, they're all Caucasians. America is such an extremely diverse country that I find business across any industry is already multicultural and global. Okay, so moving through the chapter, we see multiculturalism and diversity, asking what is the connection. Well, it doesn't take a lot of experience or someone that's quite older than us to explain this concept, but if you just look around the classroom or think about your classmates from any random class. In university, we're different ages. We're from different states, of course different genders, but I find that amplified in the workplace. Some of my best friends that I've made here in China that are either Chinese or from another region of the world or a different nationality, they are also the same ages as my younger brother. Some are older than my oldest brother. Some even could be from a different decade. So this diversity thing of what's the connection, I find it on a small scale in the classroom, and it's only amplified in industries, in companies, in the workforce. Regarding challenges of leading diversity and being a part of a diverse environment is the inability to know self. The authors have actually done a really good job of notating the importance of knowing self, but I just really want to emphasize I could have avoided lots of cultural conflict, relationship conflict, miscommunication over these past 4 years of living in a foreign country had I been more aware of myself. I've come into a place outside my comfort zone, beyond my box, and not being aware of my word choices or actions or behaviors that were subconscious because of them being so well ingrained from such a young child that it has occasionally caused friction with other individuals. That's totally normal in a team environment, not just professional but personal as well. Even I'll go as far as saying even at church, any type of diverse environment, there's going to be conflict when someone is not aware of their self, and that unknown self comes in and perhaps is very aggressive or inflexible. The authors have moved on into stating that becoming a great multicultural leader is a journey, not a destination. And I cannot tell you how much I agree with that statement. I'm not a great multicultural leader. I'm on my way. I was much better than I was 2 years ago, and I'm tremendously much better than I was 4 years ago. But it is a process. It's a maturing process. So just like anything in life, it takes time. The way, in my opinion, to develop one's skills as a great multicultural leader is through experience. It's leading, it's being around people that are not like ourselves, whether they don't speak the same first language as us, of English, or are from the same country, the same region of the U.S., I have found that just having the experience of leading, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to do things great. We're going to do things just so-so. We use these experiences to evolve and change into something better, something greater. If I were to ask you in one word, what is leadership? And there could be many answers. For me personally, when I ask myself, in one word, Justin, describe to you what is leadership, I would say leadership is influence. And so there doesn't necessarily have to be a formal title, a formal environment to be a leader and become a great leader of multiculturalism. Having acquaintances, friends from our social networks that are different than us will present the opportunity to lead. Another analogy that I would like to give is of the journey, compared to the journey, is travel. So think of travel as we go places, we see new sights, we meet new people, we acquire new things, we sample new foods. Those things change us. That experience is what I'm talking about, of becoming greater in multicultural environments. So although I've now checked off the Moscow International Airport, I don't really have much to say of what I have learned from the Russians. I've only been there briefly. But living in China for 4 years and having holiday in countries like Vietnam and Thailand, I've brought pieces of those cultures into my personality, and I can feel a difference from being more exposed to them. In terms of the community context being a critical, important leadership consideration, I can now tell you more about what I do here at Microsoft. I'm an analyst for troubleshooting, specifically commercial clients. I'm part of the local language team, so I sit with Thai, Bahasa, Cantonese, Mandarin, and then I'm the native English speaker. My team is responsible for a specific region within Asia Pacific. I cover Oceania, which would be Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and Papua New Guinea. Although I'm exposed to such various languages and personalities from this region of the world, in the work environment, we have work to do. I get to know my colleagues during lunch, at night, and on weekends. So I can emphasize that in the community context, I really felt my knowledge and understanding of myself and others expand personally, not so much in the work professional environment. Not to say that it didn't, but my understanding was greatly enhanced when I got to know these people personally, how they thought, how they ticked, about their family, their goals, their dreams, their spiritual beliefs, their athletic interests, and so on. There's so much more about a person than just a professional. So, with that said, the community context is greatly, greatly important, as it gets the opportunity established to get to know someone outside of just the typical 9-to-5 personality. When it comes to leading across different worldviews, there are so many factors that come into play. But the authors have actually done a really good job at finishing this section by saying that the thoughts of a person are the layers of meaning that most significantly distinguish cultures from each other. I cannot tell you how many times I've been frustrated living here in China to the point where I just wanted to just go home, just move back, and it's because of cultural misunderstandings, and it comes down to thought patterns and processes originate from significantly different perspectives. The example, very basic example I can give you is the date here in China is written as the year, and then the month, and then the day. So today is the day after the election. It's 2012 11/08. The logic is that the third of the three sets, year, month, date, changes most frequently, the day. So for us, we read it as November 8th, 2012. In Europe, it's the 8th of November 2012. But in China, I found that their thought process is very much the reverse of ours. And so I just want to re-emphasize again that the thought process, the thought pattern is significantly different. It can be significantly different in other organizations, in other multicultural organizations, that is. But specifically, it comes from the people because of the culture that they're from. So this chapter concludes with the authors doing a really good job of saying that a leader's effectiveness primarily depends on his or her ability to mobilize others, set a vision, and direct a group to work towards that common goal. I found that particularly true, but not just in the work environment, in any situation. So that is transferable to any industry, any role, to anyone. To make it personal, it could be the father and mother of the family raising their children on their prescribed morals and beliefs. I've had now 4 years work experience at Microsoft China, 3 years at Bank of America while I was attending Johnson & Wales, and then my freshman year internship at Citigroup. And I find this statement to be true from personal experience across all three of these companies. So not just any one single multicultural focus. It's very true for any environment. I've done a lot of soul searching and had higher highs and lower lows, as you can imagine, living in a foreign country over these past 4 years. And if I can share more of my experiences, please connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or through Ms. Jackson. She has my contact details. But I would like to, in close, share 2 books with you that I'd like to encourage you to read that really helped me get a better understanding of myself, which has allowed me to more effectively lead a multicultural team.